Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 483 at scavengerlife.com.
We're entering another season, Ryan. Another season of our life.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's getting cool outside, and we're like collecting wood.
Yes.
As a scavenger, collecting free firewood is one of the highlights of my year.
Yes.
And I have found 2 new sources of free firewood.
What are those new sources?
Number 1, a very nice elderly gentleman about an hour from where we live has all these dead trees in his yard. And I met him on Facebook. And
Facebook or Craigslist?
Sorry.
Craigslist. Jay doesn't use Facebook.
And he's like super nice. He's cutting them up, he's chopping them down.
Yeah.
Cutting them up in the sizes I need into like rounds.
Yep.
And then I go over and pick them up.
It's great.
And we love talking to each other. He loves like talking to me online, and
it's like his hobby is like clearing his yard. He has a pretty big yard.
Yeah, and he's got like all this great chainsaw equipment. He's like really into it.
He's really into it, yeah. That's a great source.
So it's like a very...
That's been a couple of years now.
Yeah, I guess it started about a year ago, but he kind of like went away, and then he popped back up, and he's got all this wood. So
yeah.
It's great. And then my other one is where we renovated our roaster building in downtown.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the industrial area of our town, and next to us is our neighbor who I've become friends with, and he is kind of like a jack of all trades, but he cuts down trees is one of those things he does. And I told him I burn firewood, and he's like, well, I sometimes cut down trees that I want to get rid of.
Like, I don't want to dump them.
So yeah, he's now given us 4 trees, I think. So
yeah.
It makes me feel really good. We probably have enough wood for 2 years now.
Yeah.
So
I would say maybe even more than that.
I think, yeah, I always think that.
But then we burn through a lot when it's really cold.
You'd be surprised. Yeah. And for anyone that doesn't know, when we built our house 12 years ago, or not built it, when we renovated our house 12 years ago, we have a wood stove, and that heats our house for heat.
We love it so much.
Yeah. Wood heat. Ew.
It's great.
Now,
there's been a few days that are cold that we're like, it's kind of chilly, but do we really want to break out the wood stove? Like, we try to wait as long as possible. And today's super warm. Like, I need to take my sweater off. It's like humid and warm. So it's one of those things where we just try to hold out till like November.
Yeah.
Because we're in Virginia, so it's like you can kind of hold out that long.
It's like the mid-Atlantic region.
Right.
Yeah.
So we also need to rent a splitter and split a bunch of wood.
Yeah.
Like, get it at 8 a.m. and just like split wood till 4.
Yeah, I guess if I was more of an outdoorsman, I would like get like a hand splitter. And,
oh boy.
Yeah.
That would take forever.
Hey,
you get a lot of exercise.
Guys do it. They're out there.
One of our neighbors does it.
Yeah.
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 It's kind of amazing.
I'm kind of like, let's just put it on there.
Well, also, we just have a lot of other stuff to do. So it's not like, I'll get some fresh air and go outside. We're like, we got to get this done.
I'm a scavenger, but I'm into technology. Okay. So when we were, we've been taking walks. We take our evening walk. Just, casual people.
What is this? We have to get our minutes in our Apple Watch. I don't know why that's funny. Like, it must happen.
Yeah, it's we take a 3-mile walk every night.
That sounds like we are retired people. Like, I think of retired people. Like, my mom, basically. Right. They're like, our nightly walk. Except, I think we walk more than my mom.
Look, so. I love it. It just is funny because it sounds like we're retired people.
I know. We're trying to exercise so that we don't die early, is what it comes down to.
So you had an interesting topic.
Yes, during one of our evening walks.
Yes. Where... I don't know, you get stressed out sometimes.
Oh, sometimes.
But when we walk and talk, we can like kind of work things out.
Yeah.
And I think you're just getting stressed out by, like we always do. We have a lot of stuff going on that we choose to do. Yeah. But we were talking about finding fun things in the things that other people, and the things that other people think are boring.
Right.
Does that
or
make
tedious.
sense? Yeah. Finding fun in the things that other people think are boring.
Yeah. Like running businesses.
And I think I hope that that's true. I know I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
I have fun in the things we do.
Most of the time. I mean, like you said, I get stressed out because there's like the crush of like independence of, you can't... Look, let me just preface this. The last few weeks have been really busy with eBay, Airbnb, and now this new coffee business. Like, there's just a lot to make sure you're doing. Because if you don't do some of it, it just becomes chaotic and messy. Right. You don't put your eBay stuff away and your helper comes tomorrow, it's a mess.
Right. And we only bring this up too. I mean, we're talking specifically about our own life, but I don't know why people come to this podcast anymore, because I guess it was kind of about eBay, and it still is, because we started this because we wanted to like document our selling stuff on eBay to buy our freedom from having to work for other people. Do. But even if you're just beginning doing eBay, it's the same thing. Like it's not glamorous.
No.
And
at all.
You kind of need to find, like, some of it has to be fun. Like searching for things and finding things out. That's always the fun stuff. I think people always have fun doing that. And then the other fun thing, you've got to have some kind of fun in either taking pictures or listing, or maybe it's not even that. It's more in the overall, like, organizing. Like,
or shipping. Like, I love packing and shipping. I really do.
If you didn't...
We'd have a problem.
We would not be doing this.
We'd have a problem.
Because I do not find that fun. And that's a good thing between two of us. We can each do the thing that is fun to us.
Right.
Because if you can't find fun in these things, then like...
just go get a crappy job.
It's not going to work. Yeah. It is not going to work. I mean, that's why when I watch his videos about like gurus and stuff, it's like, I get it. It's like... there are numbers, there's this, there's that. Amazon, you can make so much money on.
But where's the love?
But if you can't find fun in that.
And the passion.
I mean, so specifically for us, we're starting this new business. It's like we're going to open a coffee shop, and we now have like a coffee roastery.
Full-on roastery.
And the thing is I think we are finding, it's new to us. Like it's something new.
Yeah.
Like we're not sure how this is going to work.
Right.
And like I said the other week, part of my concern is like, are we documenting our own failure? And maybe so. That's okay.
I don't think we are. But sure.
But
that's a fear.
Again, we're walking into this without any guarantee that it's going to work, but I think it will, and we're working with good people. But it's a frustration and fun with working with other people. Like it's hard. It was hard enough for us to learn to work with each other, and now we're joining other people into a business, and it's frustrating because in our own business, if we want something done, it can just get done.
Well, it can just get done, and the communication is very efficient because it's generally, sometimes it's not.
Like me and you can say...
we just sit here and we're like...
why don't we do this? And it could get done
How do
today.
we do it? Like, let's figure out how to do it. When there's 4 people in the business who are geographically separated...
But not even, I don't think it even matters about that. It's more about just when you have different people and everyone has different ways of doing things and different tolerances for what needs to get done and different opinions,
Sure, of course.
Things get slower. And so that gets frustrating. However, I find that I am having a lot of fun working with 2 other people.
Yeah.
Like, because there are ideas that I would not necessarily have.
Yes.
It's fun to have other people involved in this business.
Things you would never think of, that they're like, oh, we'll definitely do this. And you're like, I would never have thought of that.
Right.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Right. So, I mean, those are things that, I think are important to us as we kind of keep going on this. It's like, I always remind you, Ryan, that we can stop at any time. Like... that's a good thing with with all of this is that we've done a lot of stuff and we make enough money doing things, or if we wanted to like not keep pushing ourselves and doing things, we could stop and live a perfectly fine life.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be rich people, but we would be like secure and safe.
Totally.
And I think that's always good to
I think that makes me feel a little bit better because there's several things that are honestly already in the pipeline for after the coffee shop. So potentially, I mean, we own another business. We own another building on Main Street that is in really rough shape. And you're kind of like, okay, once we're done with that, we pretty much have to do that other building.
But that could be 10 years from now.
I know.
It could not ever happen.
Yeah.
And the thing is not to let ourselves be overwhelmed. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about eBay this week.
Yes.
Monday, tomorrow, is a postal holiday.
It is a postal holiday, so don't get all in a tizzy shipping stuff because you can't.
So sleep late. It's all good.
You can pack your stuff, which I'm going to do, but...
Does eBay do... So we have a 3-day handling time. Does eBay do a good job, internally? Do they count that holiday as
yeah, they do a good job.
So that's not counted as a business day?
No, it's a holiday. Wow. Because usually because it'll say on your label maker thing... It says ship on what date, and then tomorrow's date will be blanked out. It won't be there. So you're like, they do consider that.
So then if someone bought something on Friday,
don't ship till Tuesday.
No. I mean, 3 business days, right? Or is it 3 days?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, you
Thursday?
You legally don't have to do it till Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Thursday, that's true. I'd have to look. Yeah, that should, yes.
And is it 3... it has to be done on the 3rd day, or it's 3 days and then it's Friday.
God, yeah.
I'm just wondering.
I actually would really have to look at that. I think it has to be shipped on the 3rd day. Is that right, or is it the next day? I don't know.
I will say you often put a lot of pressure on yourself to get stuff out quick, which I think is good.
But I don't have
fast shipping. But I always try to remind you that, with that 3 business days, you that's actually oftentimes have a lot of time.
I try to get yesterday. So yesterday was Saturday, and the post office was picking up. I tried to get everything in the mail because then I'm like, people will get stuff on Tuesday, which is great, But I didn't have to, like you said, stuff that sold Saturday morning. You don't really have to. I have noticed this last few weeks that the post office has been pretty slow. And I think it's because of election mail.
Sure.
There is a lot of mail going through the system. USPS can handle it. They get a lot of mail every single day. But I have noticed some things being a little bit sluggish. But everything's been delivered. I've been looking at my shipped stuff, and it's delivered.
Well, and supposedly, I don't know where they're at in the whole politics of it, but I know that new Postmaster General, he was trying to cut funding, so the post office was able to pay overtime to get packages pushed through faster, and then he cut that overtime.
And he took away sorting,
and so things would sit machines for longer, and so or if a truck went out late, it couldn't come back and get anything. So I don't know where that's at, but hopefully
he wouldn't let it go out late.
Right.
So if stuff wasn't coming in to get shipped out, the truck will go out empty.
Right.
And they're like, this doesn't really work.
So I hope that they fix that, because really, I mean, the post office is switching from, all the junk mail, all the paper mail that was common when I was a kid. You just get so much junk mail, and that's how the post office made cash. Now it's all about packages.
Still get some of it, but well, because online. Right. I mean, Amazon has a huge deal with the USPS. UPS and FedEx have deals with USPS to do last mile. So,
I mean, we don't get a lot of junk mail, but I love junk mail now, because now I have a box by my
kindling.
By our wood stove, and it's great. I start fires with it.
Oh yeah,
so it's great.
It's fine.
Thanks for the junk mail, guys.
Hey, that pays a lot for the post office, though. Yeah. I know you say it's not as much as when you were a little kid, but some of those mailers, those commercial mailers, pay for.
Yeah. So Saturdays are, I don't know. We don't really have weekends where we don't do anything.
Speaking of work,
but Saturdays are oftentimes where we don't have as much to do, or we can take off. So last evening we had eaten dinner, and then I am walking by our we have like a dining room table where we do most of our work. Table. It's like we eat. It's kind of just like it's like
catch-all office.
and I walk by you and you're like intently focused on something, and I look on your computer screen and there's like some weird, I don't know, some weird program. I'm like, what do you do? You know, and you're just like, and like I realize you've been quiet for like 2 hours. And I'm like, what are you doing? And you said eBay is making us change item specifics on 1,700 items.
Yeah, I think it's mostly clothes, but there's some. So a few weeks ago, and I think this was part of the seller update. I don't know. It's like I'm an eBay professional, but I like half pay attention to some of this stuff. I'm like, when was that? So eBay started requiring certain categories to have item specifics, which makes sense. But it was like really particular about some things. So eBay introduced this technology. It's kind of like InkFrog. It's called OptiSeller. I think it's a similar program. And
OptiSeller.
Yeah. So they're like, you can get a free account until December to do item specifics. It's basically like, it's not even a bulk editor. It's like you have to do it one by one still. But it like shows you what item specifics are needed in certain categories. So you can go category by category, which is helpful. So I fixed a bunch of items. It was like hundreds of item specifics, right? And I was like, great, I'm done. No problem. That wasn't so bad. And then I started hearing some stuff a little bit on the forums, and I was like, meh. And they're like, yeah, so remember all those categories where it was like, you know, you need to immediately change it. So I like fixed all those. And then it was like required soon. And I totally ignored all those. I was like, well, I don't have to do that. So now eBay's sending out messages. These will be required soon, so you need to change them. So
if you don't change them, then eBay will take them down, or
I don't know what eBay will do. My fear is not that they'll take them down, that they'll just push them lower in the rankings because
they'll hide them.
Yeah, whatever. So, and they might not do that, and they might be like saying that so that you'll do it. But I'm like,
and what example are the changes?
It's
like color?
So annoying. So some of it's color, and some of it's color. Some of it's so it's a lot of clothes. Department in quotes. Men's. Meaning, is it the men's department, women's department, kids, teens, or unisex adults?
Right.
The annoying thing about that is most of these are already in the category of like women's sweaters or men's belts. And you're like, those should be pre-filled. If it's in the eBay category of men's belts, it should be men's department.
So is it in the category in our store, or is it on the category on eBay? eBay, okay, yeah.
Like, in our store, I just have belts, right. But I do have some women's belts and some men's
basically,
belts.
This is eBay's continued push. And it makes sense for structured data. Yeah. So when someone does a search, eBay has a lot of data and then can filter out and get to you.
So on the left-hand side, like if you buy on eBay a lot, which I do, there'll be check boxes, which is actually super helpful, where you're like, I just want handmade items. I just want this size. However, the thing that's also annoying about the item specifics is eBay a couple of years ago introduced a color called multicolor, which was really helpful. So you have a belt and it has like all these different colors. You're like, it's a multicolor belt. eBay's term for multicolor was multi-color. Oh, they changed that, so it's all one word now. So anything that's called multi-color, which I didn't type in, I just chose, they're like, oh, you just wrote that in and made it up. It's not like a checkbox. And you're like, eBay. Right. So first of all, that could be automated by eBay to change it to their new standard. But no, I have to copy and paste every single multicolor. So it's a pain in the butt. And so I think it's not a big deal because I'm like, I'll do it. But in 5 years, are they going to change it again?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like we're the kind of like the edge case.
Yeah.
I don't know how many like big sellers there. I mean, I don't know how big we are, but we're 8,000 items, for people that
we're like medium,
keeping a large inventory that doesn't turn over quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's who it hits, because for people who are turning over items quickly, they're adding items newly, and they're adding all these categories because I'm assuming there's stars by everything or asterisks by
It'll
everything.
tell you when it's required.
But
the other thing, sorry. The other annoying thing is MPN, manufacturer's part number. If you have a model number on most things, there's not an MPN on almost anything.
I don't even know what that is.
Manufacturer parts number. It's like, okay, so for example, I had to buy a part for one of our grinders at the
coffee grinder.
Coffee grinder, sorry, at the roaster building where we grind coffee when we ship stuff out. I had to buy a part. So there's a manufacturer's part number. It's like a long string of numbers, and you're like, I need that part number. That makes sense. It's not a model number, it's a part number. But for a majority of things like electronics or whatever, there's no MPN.
Yeah.
But you just have to say does not apply every single freaking time. You're like eBay.
Yeah.
Not applicable to most things.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So, I mean, this is not the first time eBay's done some kind of change, and for a seller like us that has a lot of like things that have been up for a long time, just we have to
we just have to do it,
and it's just the way it is, you know. And then we got a letter this week from the post office. We made an insurance claim on an item, and we got a letter that said that if we want to get the claim approved, we have to bring the actual item to the post office to verify. And this is interesting. We've had other people say that on the forum. Them getting that letter too, and it's not this. You know, sometimes we do a claim and we just get a check.
Yeah, which happened a couple weeks ago.
So it's interesting why some like you have to show or not.
Well, and the issue with this one too is the person hasn't returned it yet, and there's a time limit on the letter. They're like, you have so many days to get, and since eBay gives people 1 million days to return things, I'm like, well, I don't even know if I can like get this claim because they just haven't shipped it
open
yet.
it up again. So anyway, it's just it's one of those things. It just I guess
it's just,
we always, for the most part, make buyers send things back if they say things are not always. I mean,
not damaged. Like if it really, this one just got chipped, so I was like, I could use part of it. Part of it was usable still, so I said return it. They just haven't. Yeah. Maybe they changed their mind and it's fine, and I won't have to refund them. But I don't know.
I guess we make people send things back when we're a little bit like skeptical of what they're saying. So, but if they show us a photo and like it's actually smash, we're like, here's all your money.
Yeah, of course. I just refund them right away.
Okay, let's talk about our numbers this week. It was a fairly slow week for us. We sold 32 items.
Yeah.
We made $1,152.51.
Not including shipping.
Not including shipping. And so we sold, a decent amount of items, but the thing is, was fairly low dollar. Our highest item was $100.
Yeah.
For 2 wooden bowls.
Well, that was a great sale.
Here's 2 bowls. They're made out of wood. Give us $100.
They're primitive.
I know. They're nice. Handmade things always sell well, like hand-turned.
Yeah. They're old. They were old.
From Vermont. Yeah. Maybe it's made by pioneers or pilgrims.
I don't think they were that old, but okay.
Pilgrims, frontiersmen.
So
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You know, we're all like these armchair economists. I just think with like weirdness of American politics right now, people are probably a little unsure.
Like I said last week, the chaos of the news cycle.
Yeah.
Every time I refresh my phone, I'm like, what the heck is happening?
The elections coming and people are getting a little nervous, and I don't know. Yeah, who knows? But
I don't know. Well, also there's like talks of a new stimulus bill that keep crashing and burning. So there are people that are, freaking out a little bit.
Yeah. But things keep selling. We've sold 2 things today. So
weird vintage items.
Yeah, they keep going. And things we sold, totally random. Really not a lot of anything specifically cool, but just, I don't know, T-shirts. We've been selling.
I've been selling T-shirts.
Yeah, which we haven't bought T-shirts in a long time.
I've been selling, I have this coffee maker that I parted out like a year ago or more ago.
Yep.
And I'm still selling parts from that. I have Jay was just asking me, he's like, how many more parts do we have? And it's a handful of parts left. I'm kind of like, All right. People are still repairing these.
When we first moved into our house, I was hoarding cast iron, like, cookware.
Pots and pans.
Because I was just like, this stuff is incredible.
It is incredible.
Why should you cook on anything other than cast iron? But then over the past decade, I'm like, I use... One. Yeah, two
You pans. Use one pan, I use the other pan.
Like, I cook everything in this one kind of like high-lipped cast iron pan where, I mean, I cook
It's almost
everything.
like a Dutch oven with a handle.
I cook everything in that. And so we went and we just cleaned and purged all the cast iron I had collected.
And I've been selling it.
And we sold a couple this week.
I sold a couple pieces. I took offers because I'm like, one was a Lodge, like 10-inch skillet frying pan, like the greatest, like basic size frying pan. And I took a half price offer because I was like, it's not vintage and it's used.
Same way with knives too. I was buying, like cooking knives, like
chef's knives,
chef
like
knives.
Usps.
Like we built like a whole collection because I thought, we should have all this stuff. And then of course I realized like I use one knife,
one or two knives,
just one chef's knife. And so I've been purging those as well. And we sold a couple of those.
We sold two
to one guy.
Yeah, to one guy.
$80.
Yeah, Usps is good.
Not bad.
Just one note about cast iron, though, just if anyone's like, oh, cast iron's a good seller or whatever, double box it. Box it like it's glass.
Because
it will shatter.
Because, it seems hard, like if you hit someone on the head with it. But it's interesting. We had a couple of cast irons a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So ask me how I know.
Ask me how I know, because they both broke.
Showed up someplace and it just cracked in half. Because it's...
Well, first of all, it's heavy as hell. So if you don't double box it, it's getting jostled around. And so both of those were... I kind of avoided packing them for like a day or so because I was like, it's going to take me like a good amount of time to pack these. But it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's double boxed, padded, bubble wrapped, and it'll get there fine.
So Scavenge of the week, I went to a thrift store just kind of offhandedly, and they were just having like a clean out sale.
Yeah.
And I ended up buying a bunch of stuff.
So much stuff that like I noticed in my office. I went up there because you bought stuff and came home, and I was like
3 big boxes.
Yeah, I was
stuff.
like, what are these new boxes?
Yeah.
I don't recognize these boxes. It's just fine.
And a lot of good stuff too. So add it to the queue.
Good stuff. So I started like putting it out for my helper, which was funny because you're like, oh, I just bought this, and you're already putting it out. I'm like, these boxes are totally in my way.
Yeah, right. Just stick it in your way. And our helper's still doing okay?
Yeah, he's doing great.
A young 16-year-old man.
Well, so I roast on the days he comes. So he comes right when I try to go to the roaster building at the exact same time. So I haven't seen him in weeks. But I leave a note. I'm like, here's the deal for today. Do this, do that. He's been doing good.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. Like, we had to drive to the next town over, which takes about 45 minutes. And I just hopped on my computer and put my phone on a hotspot and was listing stuff on eBay. Because I'm trying to keep up with him, in between, which is fine. I'd rather do that than just sit in the car and do nothing,
Yeah.
So I love that hotspot on my phone. Live off that thing.
It is good.
Yeah.
Customer issues. We've had a couple of returns. It's just
mostly returns for fit.
Way of life. Yeah.
Fit, or I just didn't like it.
Yeah. And on the forum, we've had people come on who are, I don't know if it's kind of new to them, but it always stinks when you get like a neutral or negative feedback, especially when the person seems confused. Like, they gave you a neutral for an item that you didn't even send them. Like, they're talking about some other item.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, what do you do? And, the answer is always like 3 things. Number 1, try and engage with that buyer, and you try and communicate with them, and you can send a feedback.
Removal request, change request. And that's a good one.
And spend time on that. Number 2, you can go to eBay and try and dispute the feedback,
Yeah.
And number 3, you can just not do anything and just
you can just
go
respond.
on
You
with
can
your
reply.
life. Yeah. I mean, I don't think in all the time we've been selling now, 12 years, we've ever gone a year without having some kind of a neutral or negative feedback because they're up there for a year.
It's amazing to me when sellers have been selling for like 15 years and they're like, in all of my time, I've never had a neutral or a negative. I'm like,
and so I can say with, with experience that it does not stop people from buying from us as long as, we take them seriously, as long as the thing the person's complaining about isn't some issue that we have with all of our other items, or if we're doing something wrong, like on a consistent basis. Right. Normally, it's a
one-off.
It's a buyer has an opinion that they're allowed to have.
The other thing too is like, so one of our neutral or negatives, I forget, was somebody said their shoes fell apart. Never contacted me. I was like, I can give you a refund. Well, the thing about managed payments is I actually don't know how to give a refund outside of like them not opening a case. I've had to tell people, they're like, oh, I'm just going to mail this back to you. I'm like, you actually have to open a return because I don't know how to refund you any other way. So it's kind of tough where it's not just PayPal where you go into the PayPal thing and you're like, send refund. Right. It's just a little wacky.
And then like old dad was saying on the forum, and we do this, is like on the feedback, you as the seller are allowed to make a comment.
Right, you can reply.
And what you don't do is what I see a lot of sellers do, is that they like, this buyer's crazy, like this is fraud. It's just, we just always say, I take returns
for any reason.
For any reason. There is no communication from the buyer. Just so if there is a potential buyer and they are interested in reading your feedback, they can see like, like mostly I say buy it, we take returns for any reason for, 30 days. No, buyer did not want to return, in some such short language because they only give you a few characters. Yeah.
So anyway, it's not a big deal.
Something else that was interesting in the forum, Julie, who has been around for a while, she announced that she is leaving her full-time job to sell on eBay full-time. So so I don't, this is the story that I understand, is that she started selling on eBay and she tried to go full-time and maybe it didn't work quite right. It's a lot of work. Maybe you aren't making as much money as you want soon enough.
As quickly,
She took some contract work. She has a very specific skill set, which is great if you want to do contract work. But it turned out that the employer she was doing contract work for just basically turned it into a full-time job.
Yeah.
And now 3 years later, she's realizing like she doesn't like that lifestyle of working for somebody full time, and now she put in her notice and she's now going to go full time selling on eBay, and she thinks she can do it. I'm hoping, I think the way she talks about on the forum, that while she's been working a full time job, she's been building up her eBay business, so hopefully she's not starting from scratch.
She'll keep going with it.
A couple things. Number one, congrats. That's a good feeling.
It's huge.
If you're having a lot of stress doing someone else's work, it's great to work for yourself. And we've always said that if you're willing to work 40 plus hours a week for somebody else,
do it for yourself.
Give yourself that time, and it's not like you can quit a job someplace else and then just like not do anything and make money.
You have to do something.
You hear, just go back to the beginning of this podcast. Talk. We've been doing this for a long time. You're still dealing with stress. It's a different kind of stress, and that's why it's to me, it's a fun kind of stress when we're solving our own problems.
Well, it's like,
it's not great, but
there's a lot of pressure because it is just dependent on you, and there is no paycheck coming at the end of the week or every 2 weeks. But you can take a break when you want, or you can change things as quickly as you want, And the
other thing is we also have a specific skill set, which is it's video production.
Right.
And we, over the years, still do contract work from time to time. We have old clients or people that have heard about us, and we can solve very specific problems.
Right, specific video problems.
But I always say, with our contract work, we always sign contracts where the job is very specified. So we agree with them.
Right, time-wise.
We're doing X, Y, Z in X amount of time, and you're going to pay us X amount of money. And so there's a beginning and there's an end, and there's a number on it, and that's it. Contract work with no end date is just a job without benefits.
Right.
You know?
That's true.
And that is, in these days with more and more companies kind of wanting to hire contractors, you got to be real careful of that,
Yeah. And it just depends on what you want.
Yeah.
Maybe you want that. Maybe you want that constant,
Yeah, but, that can get, if you're basically just full-time forever, you might as well get a real job with them and get benefits and 401k and all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, if not, you're just like what's it called? The people that drive around cars and
like a gig worker.
Uber drivers. Yeah. I mean, I was also thinking too, I mean, we've talked about it before. So we've been doing this 2008. I'm 47.
How old are you? You're 47. You're 6 years older than me.
I'm 47. Yeah. I just feel like I am unemployable, I think about
you're just like,
I was thinking about this. I have not had a job where I could put on a resume. I've not had a job in 15 years.
Yep.
15 years.
That's when you left your job in New York.
Yeah.
And we traversed the country on our own.
Right. I mean, I still think I have a valuable skill set, but I think as I get older, into my 50s, I just think employers are we don't want to hire these old guys with no
you
work.
You have a 15-year gap.
So this better work. Whatever we're doing here, this better
it is
work.
Working. It is working.
I'm burning bridges here. I'm just
Yeah. Well, that's fine. I think that's not a bad thing.
I think I'm also unemployable where I just I can't imagine waking up
and being told what to do. That's my problem.
Going into some building and there's somebody who's oh, did you do this thing? And I'm just what?
What? Why?
And I'm I gotta go somewhere. They're you can't go anywhere. You have to stay here till 5 o'clock. I'm what? I gotta stay here?
Well, we have a friend.
I gotta go do something. It's gonna be more efficient if
I
you
go
let me
do
go
this thing.
Drive somewhere for 2 hours and then it'll be so much better. Nope, you gotta sit there. I'm what?
We have a friend that wasn't.
The heck?
Okay, enough. We have a friend who was an independent worker. And just got a full-time job. It's a little bit independent, but it is definitely clocking in and clocking out with a salary.
Yeah.
And we're let's see how long he lasts.
Yeah. No, I
don't know if
he traded, he got an offer that he thought was good and he wants to see if, because that is on the other side is the
lure
Apple,
of a paycheck.
The lure of
the lure of
steady
a
work. You're going to pay me how much? So every Friday,
I just get a check.
There's just going to be money in my bank, and I just have to just do what you tell me, and then that's it. And then at 5 o'clock, I just clock out, and I don't have to think about anything.
That is not true these days, though. Let's just be very clear.
Yeah. You
have a phone in your pocket 24 hours a day.
Right.
And you're on salary, you're on call.
Right.
You might work 12, 15-hour days. 12 to 15-hour days. And that's just what it is.
Yeah. Although I think there's probably a lot of people that work jobs where they're well, maybe they might. I just turn my phone off. I don't do anything.
Well, I've seen that because I've tried to communicate with people who have those jobs, and you're oh, it's Friday at 4.
Right,
I'm not going to hear till 10 a.m. on Monday.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah. So anyway, Julie, congrats. I hope it works out. She sounded very kind of, and I guess the whole title of her post was having FU money.
Yeah, exactly.
Google it.
Google.
This is a kid-friendly show.
Yeah.
Having her money she's making on eBay gives her the power to be able to leave a job and not have to be dependent on them.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to the questions or comments that people sent in this week.
Okay, you can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. Or you can email us an audio file from your phone. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. It's Mike here from Rustin Thing. Just want to tell you about a situation I had happen this week. Customer got online and saw I had some patches for sale. Proceeded to send me email, first one saying, I noticed you got these patches for sale. If I buy more than one, can I offer you X amount? And I denied the offer by, pretty much saying that, no, that's not what I'm looking to get. But the next message that came, and the next one after that was harassment, really. It was, you're asking $5 shipping on a patch. By the way, I'm doing a calculated shipping, and patches, unfortunately, go USPS first class. The reason I do that rather than throw them in an envelope is, I'm trying to keep the top rated status, and I don't want to lose that. Anyways, because I was charging more than $1 for shipping for our patch, I was unethical, and he would choose not to do business with me anyways because I was unethical. And, of course, it caught me at a bad moment, and at first sometimes I'm able to just brush that stuff off. But it builds on you when these guys are calling you unethical and you have no intention of being that person. You're trying your best to run a straight business, get it shipped on time, send follow-up emails, keep a positive attitude. Just wondering how you guys handle those situations. Do you just ignore them, or do you even get those situations? Thanks for your show. Talk to you later. Bye.
Great question.
It's a good question, although it sounds like you're in a spaceship flying far from Earth. It's fine. Yes, this is, if you've been selling for a while on eBay, this is very common, where buyers have opinions on the way you sell things, and if you don't give them exactly what they want, they just get very angry, and it's fine. Yep, the answer is just to block,
ignore.
But on your specific case, look, we are right there with you. We do calculated shipping, and the thing is, buyers want the cheapest shipping, and I get that, and we're not trying to make people pay the most, but oftentimes the cheapest shipping means you as a seller are taking all the risks.
Right.
And they're not either acknowledging that,
right,
or they don't care. And so some sellers probably hearing this right now are like, of course, I'll just throw it in an envelope. I mean, I'll just take a risk.
Yeah.
If I lose one patch every 100, then I just take that risk, but I'm selling more. And again, that's just, everyone's risk tolerance. We don't really like to do that. So,
I mean, there have been times when if someone's just being really obnoxious, I mean, we block and ignore a lot, but there have been times.
Not really? I mean, it happens
I'm not saying it happens a lot. I'm saying anytime it happens, we block and ignore them.
Absolutely.
But there have been times where someone's being, I don't even know, where they catch you in a bad moment and you just respond. And I mean, basically you're like, just buy from someone else. If you think I'm like a bad business person, just find it somewhere else. Or look, classic. You can get this on Walmart.com for $3. Or they'll say, there are other sellers that are much cheaper. We're like, great, buy from them. Why are you even talking to me?
Yep.
There's definitely times where I've responded like that.
Yep.
And you block, and then you ignore the rest of their messages.
Yep.
But human to human, you're like, why are you even sending me this message?
Yeah. I mean, people are reasonable, and they're like, look, I want to buy this. Can we do a deal on shipping?
Right.
We'll do that because
of course.
Oftentimes our prices are very flexible.
Right.
We build in profits, so we're willing to take. It's basically an offer.
Yeah, it's like an offer.
Yeah.
If, like you said, if someone's being reasonable, but if someone's just being blatantly harassing you from the get-go, it's like, no.
Yeah.
They're probably going to return it anyway and say it was defective.
Exactly, yeah. If they get that belligerent that quickly, and that they're probably not the people you want to sell to.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. This is John from Pennsylvania. I was just calling to see if anyone else has ran into the same thing I have, or if people aren't noticing. When you go to print a single label, eBay has been pre-selecting a different method than what you've specified or what the buyer's paid for. For instance, I'll sell something that has medium mail or first class, and when I go to print a single label, FedEx Ground is selected by default. And I have to actually select first class or medium mail, whichever one it was that I wanted to send. And this is only happening with single items for me. If I ship multiple items at once, the correct shipping method comes up in the correct price. But I've noticed for about the past week or two, if I have a single item to ship and I go to print the label, it comes up and there will be a different option selected, usually a more expensive option. So I just want everyone to notice that and keep an eye out for it, and see if it was just me that was noticing that. But anyway, enjoy the podcast. You guys keep it up.
I have not noticed that. Meaning, not that I haven't just noticed it. It hasn't been happening to me. I wonder if it's just a weird glitch. The thing that I do notice, which really bugs the crap out of me with eBay shipping labels, is if you change the weight, say it's a little bit under or a little bit over, I will type say it's first class and you're like, oh, it's a little bit more than 10 ounces. Okay, fine. It's not a big deal. You had first class chosen and then you type in the new one and it like switches over to priority or something. Like I've seen it bounce back and forth when you change the dimensions or the weight. So you have to double check once you've changed those parameters that it goes back to what you selected. I've noticed that before, but I've never noticed that it would switch to, number one, a more expensive method, and number two, a different carrier. I wonder if that's just a glitch right now. Yeah. I've never seen that, but it is super annoying. I've definitely, someone's paid for parcel and I've upgraded them to priority, but I had to change something on the size or whatever, and it goes back to parcel and you press print and you're like, no, you have to void it out. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's done that, so that's a pain. The good thing is, once you void it, I mean, the post office, if it never gets scanned, the post office just refunds you in like 2 weeks. But
so does that happen? I mean, often, like having to void?
No,
labels?
I mean it's like on days when I have only had one cup of coffee, and you're like, ah. Oh. Yeah. I mean, I can't even remember the last time it happened, but I have had that happen.
But it does take 2 weeks to...
Yeah, it takes a couple of weeks.
Get the money back?
Yeah, okay. They'll give you the money back. Cool. But it always sucks when you press print and you're like, oh, yeah. I meant to do upgrade them to priority, because it was actually cheaper and faster. So.
Right.
Hey, you beautiful people. I hope this is the Scavenger life, and I'm not leaving a random voicemail for someone else. This is Chuck. I just want to say thanks so much for what you guys are doing. I've been listening to your podcast newly, and I'm loving it. Just getting into eBay selling, and so just wanted to say thanks for what you guys have done, because it's just made it fun for me. A couple bits of advice you gave were, one, sell the things that were just fun to you, and I've been doing that, and I've been having a blast. Secondly, you guys made a suggestion about posting some scale of like size reference in your pictures, and you joked about using a banana, and I've been using a banana in all my posts with a little handwritten note that says banana not included. I've even named my store Banana Not Included because I just think it's funny, and I've been having such a good time because of it. I actually had a customer just send me an offer that I accepted, but they said they couldn't offer any more money if the banana wasn't included. So I'm just having a blast with it. But my question for you guys is this. When do you auction, and when do you buy it now? It seems like most of your stuff is buy it now. Most of my stuff is buy it now, but I've got a couple items where I just wonder if an auction might work better. I've actually had some items I've been selling. I started with auctions, and then I started listing just buy it now, and those items stopped selling as regularly. So does it make sense just when does it make sense to auction? When does it make sense to buy it now? Coming from a person who's brand new, I have no idea, but I bet you guys do. So Again, thanks so much for what you guys are doing. You're awesome, and keep it up.
Banana for scale. Yep. Isn't that an internet meme?
I think so.
Something.
Yeah. So that's fun. Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's just, I just want to reinforce the only way selling on eBay in a sustainable way works is if you have fun, which is kind of what we started with.
Yeah.
And part of that is selling things that you think are interesting, you know? So
and having fun with it, exactly.
So if you like video games, then, you know, start selling video games.
Right.
If you like...
And then find other things from there.
You know, but this idea, like, someone on the internet says selling, you know, antique china is valuable. I'll just start doing that, and you're just like hating it. You're just like, I hate this stuff.
I've learned to love it.
You're not going to do that, you know. Yeah. So it is about having fun. And I just want to say too, this guy just started hearing our podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
Go back and check out our old podcast, because, you know,
400 episodes.
These days we don't often talk about a newbie kind of things. We just kind of talk about what's interesting to us.
Yeah.
But in those early podcasts, we were really talking about, I mean, we were kind of in the beginnings of things too. Yeah. So maybe right where people are. So I think a lot of that is evergreen.
Yeah. In terms of auction versus buy it now, I have not done an auction since 2008.
Yeah,
that's my answer.
There are people hearing this right now who will fight to the death saying that auctions make sense for certain things, and that's great. The only answer is just try it. Like,
just try it.
You can't go wrong.
Try a 7-day auction.
There are items that have a lot of value, and a lot of people want those things, and maybe you'll get a bidding war in something that you might have listed for $100, might sell for $500. To me, that's kind of like a jackpot. It's like a lottery, but it's also a lot more hand-holding and a lot more touching of things. You're having to keep up with auctions. We've often found, too, that most auctions sell, if they sell, for opening bid.
Yep.
So one person buys it.
Yep.
So
then they don't pay.
And then you go through that whole thing.
Depending on the item.
And for us, it's all about list it and forget it for the most part. But a big caveat, research.
Yeah.
So we do not put things up just randomly, like, you know, let's just put $10 on it. No, we look it up. And as you sell more, you just know kind of what things cost too. Like, or sell for.
And, you know, you can try auctions. I mean, I think that's
right.
But I feel like the research and the price high with make offer, willing to do make offer, and really feeling like you're getting the price you want for something is important. And that's what's been important for me. I mean, you know, we do laugh at my prices sometimes. Like, I will sell 2 wooden bowls for $100.
Well, our thing is we do a reverse auction, and that's
I put it at the highest price.
And that's what I mean by
that's a good point. Yeah.
That's what I mean by it's buy it now with make offer. So we put the highest price we think we can get with the make offer, and then let people make offers. And then if it's a popular item, we'll kind of see where the offers end up. So if we put it up for $500, all the offers are about $200. We're like, okay, I guess
that's where the
market's about $200. Rather than you put it up for $100 and then you hope people bid it up. You know, anyway, it's just
a different way of doing it.
To us, is like, I don't want to have to list, relist. You know, just put it up. It's there. If you want it, send us an offer. So that's our business. God, was that complicated? I don't want to make things complicated.
It's not complicated.
Okay.
Give it a try, and then if it works for you, go for it. If it doesn't, buy it now.
Yep.
Okay, that's it for the calls.
Okay.
I want to say this before we close.
Okay.
As we close.
Okay.
Change your coffee, change your life.
Oh my God.
I got an email from a scavenger who's on the forum very actively that was like, you know what? You convinced me to buy some good coffee, obviously, from us.
Right.
We buy Walmart coffee, and it's okay. And I'm like, oh, boy, I can't wait till you get our coffee. Now, I want to say this. Okay, broadporchcoffee.com or broadporch.coffee if you're a nerd, a website nerd. our blend, we have 2 blends. We have an espresso dark roast and then kind of a medium dark roast Southern split. Those are good starters. Those are like, you don't have to be a nerd. It's not a light roast. I'm drinking Southern split in our drip coffee maker all week, putting cream in it. You know, it's not some espresso pour over, AeroPress, nerd life. You can do those things. It's just good coffee in the morning.
Can I give everyone a quick history of coffee?
Sure. Whoa.
In the United States.
Okay, go for it.
Just in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So, you know, like if you're a baby boomer or a Gen Xer,
yeah,
I think everybody else might not be alive still. I don't know if people are before that. Anyway, you know, we all grew up with just like Folgers coffee. Like
Maxwell House.
That was it. And like with beer, it was just like Bud Light and Michelob. Like there was no real choice. It was just kind of generic. And that's
commodity,
that's what we all just drank.
Yeah.
My generation, Gen X, are the ones that started doing like craft beer, but also you started getting like specialty coffee,
right.
You know? And I remember in the 90s, it was like the mid 90s. I lived in Cincinnati for a while. There was a coffee shop like on this little cute street, and they didn't really serve specialty coffee. It was just a coffee shop, and it was just like a cool place to hang out, and they just served like regular coffee, and you'd buy 1 cup and you could refill it.
Did they do espresso or no?
No.
Just coffee.
And it was just, but that was when like Starbucks started coming in. And as much as people love or hate Starbucks, they're the ones that really started helping to spread the popularity of specialty coffee, where you get espresso drinks,
right?
You know, that wasn't Folgers. It was like a darker blend.
Although many would argue that Starbucks is no longer specialty coffee,
right?
But you can kind of
at the same time in like the late 90s and then into the early 2000s, like the craft beer, people started to like roast their own coffee,
right?
And they would buy good coffee beans, and they would roast it in a way that did not taste like anything you had ever tasted before. Right. So where Starbucks, they were, showing people that you'd have like a latte, an
espresso drinks. Yeah,
they were also just doing really dark roast. That's why it tastes really smoky.
Yeah,
because they just roast it.
Yeah,
they kind of roast a lot of the flavor out of it. Yeah. Whereas specialty coffee, I remember when we moved to San Francisco in 2006, there were these like little coffee shops popping up, like Blue Bottle
and Ritual Roasters.
Yeah, and which are now got sold off and they're huge. But it was a big deal. You're going like, wow, this coffee is crazy. Yeah, like it tastes like nothing I've ever had.
Yeah, it's
before.
amazing. It has tasting notes like wine.
And so here's 2020. We're like trying to have a little specialty coffee roaster and cafe in Luray, Virginia. That would have been unheard of, but that's the change. And so I mean, look, we get it. Not too long ago, we were buying coffee from Costco. It's pretty
a year
good.
and a half ago.
It's like Starbucks.
It literally is Starbucks
branded.
Yeah,
it was pretty decent. Even if you got a medium roast, it was pretty darkly roasted.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
So, but there really is a difference when you buy specialty coffee. If you live in any town in America, there is a roaster nearby you that is roasting, good specialty coffee.
And I'm not talking about like weird flavors. It's like our dark roast is just number one, it's fresh. So the coffee that we're sending you, we either roasted it that day or the day before.
Right.
We roast twice a week.
Yeah.
And we ship on those days.
But it's just like but it's fine. If you like drinking Folgers, it's fine. It's just like your opinion, man. I mean, it's just like if you like Bud Light, it's fine. But if you're into like craft beer and you like the different tastes of beer, it's the same way with coffee. There are different tastes of coffee that you can enjoy. You're going to pay a little bit more because it costs more to make it small batches.
Yep.
But
small batches.
If you want to try
a living wage.
If you trust us.
Yeah.
Try a coffee you've maybe never had before and see what you think. We can even grind it for you.
Yes.
So if you can order
like I said, I ordered a part for our grinder. Yep. So I'm grinding that coffee.
So, and you can do it in your drip coffee
That's
maker.
how I'm drinking it. It's great.
We have a drip coffee maker here, in our house. Bonavita.
It's a Bonavita. Yeah. It is like a higher end drip coffee maker for like, although, I guess coffee nerds like it. It's just a drip coffee maker.
I bought it on eBay for $30.
Yeah, so like I got it on sale.
It doesn't matter. You could do it in a Mr. Coffee and it'd be fine. But
Broadporch.coffee. That's the website. Yeah. We would love it if you ordered from us. Jay and I were packing and shipping.
That's right.
With Phil.
Right.
He was showing us how to do it.
Right.
How they do it.
Well, it's funny. Our partner Phil, he is our roaster.
Yes, master roaster.
The master roaster.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, so I ship these orders. I'm like, this is how I do. I'm like, wait a second. We know all about packing and shipping. And like, let us show you what's going on. So
this is how you can do it. So we're excited about Jay. So to bookend this podcast, Jay was like, well, what are you excited about? I'm like, I can't wait to really start doing full shipping and packing for the coffee business. Like we're roasting, we're packing, we're shipping. Like to me, that's super exciting, which sounds really nerdy, but it's true. So that's my excitement and fun for the week is to figure out how to do that right. So put orders in so I'll have lots of orders to ship. Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
This podcast is ending in 3, 2, 1.
Bye. We're gone.